Hi guys, my name is Kylie, and I'm a Femina Phenom. And I am drinking because I've had a week. So I've realized something over the past week or two. Liberals and conservatives are more divided than ever on the issues, and we don't have a common vocabulary with which to bridge that divide. Many, not all obviously, but many of Donald Trump's supporters voted for him because he tells it like it is, speaks his mind, and says what nobody else will say. He says things that are politically incorrect. And I just want to make this clear. Nobody says these things because these things are racist, sexist, and xenophobic. Now, these words might seem a little bit harsh to somebody who has the privilege of not having to be offended by racism, sexism, or xenophobia. But I think that to shut down and to stop listening once you hear these words is to fundamentally misunderstand the language. So I would like to start a subcategory of videos where we break down these buzzwords into concepts that I think everyone can understand. And because it's Sunday and wine is involved, I'm unofficially calling it Sloppy Sacrament Sunday. Today's word, appropriately, is privilege. Okay, so what is privilege? In context, privilege is an often unspoken advantage some hold over the rest. Or, and this is important, immunity from certain types of systematic prejudice. So it's not just about having something that other people don't. It's also about being part of the socially sanctioned normal and not having to worry about certain things that only apply to the socially sanctioned others. For example, if you are a white person in America, you have not experienced racism. You may have experienced racially based prejudice, but you haven't experienced racism. That's why you have white privilege. And I would venture to say that almost every single one of us has some kind of privilege. But when I, for instance, ask somebody to check their privilege, I'm often met with a lot of anger. So why does it make people so mad to be told that they have privilege? Because we've all been there, right? Perhaps engaging in a healthy debate among friends, or furiously arguing in the comments section. We've all had the word privilege flung at our feet by someone apparently more enlightened than us. And I get it. It can be frustrating. It's because it feels as though that person is dismissing your experiences, as if people who have privilege are somehow immune to adversity in all forms. And we take offense to that. Though, can we just take a second to recognize how ironic that is? That the people who denounce PC culture are often the ones who are offended by words as innocuous as privilege. Now that's a natural emotional reaction to have. But what I'm asking of people, especially conservative, centrist, or neoliberal people, is this. Please just make the effort to suspend that train of thought. Take a second to be offended if you're offended, and then work through it like a goddamn adult. Recognize that no one is saying privilege invalidates your experiences, but it does blind you to the experiences that you are less likely to have based on your role in the socially dominant race, gender, sexuality, religion, and class. If you are a cisgendered man, cis meaning that you identify with the gender you were assigned at birth, you have probably never been catcalled. And if you have been, and if you thought it was funny or flattering, that bias, how you felt about what happened, paints your perception of how everyone else should experience the same thing. But some men, and most women, don't think it's funny or flattering. We find it offensive. And because you do not and have never identified as a woman, or for the sake of argument, the typical victim of this kind of behavior, you simply cannot understand what it's like for someone to think so little of your personhood that he publicly shares his feelings about your appearance on a regular basis. But here's the good news. You can try. You can try to understand. You can listen to people's stories, to people's experiences, and you can believe them when they tell you how these things impact their daily lives. And nobody expects you to get it right away. You're allowed to do research and then come back. You're allowed to ask questions about the things you still don't understand. God knows I do it. The trouble is most people are too lazy or too afraid to confront their privilege. When we tell you that you have privilege, all we're asking you to do is to recognize that maybe how you've experienced something is not how most people experience that thing. And to just for a moment, give the floor to somebody who does have relevant experience. And please stop trying to tell us not to call out your privilege and to instead build bridges and help you understand. Because by calling out your privilege, that is exactly what we are trying to do. We're trying to tell you which privilege makes you unable to really understand a certain topic and asking you to listen to people who do have experience in it so that you can more fully understand. And we do this often because we love you. We want the people we love to be empathetic. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes we just want strangers to show empathy for the people we love. And because as I'm finishing up this vlog, I came across a Tumblr post that was way too relevant, I'm gonna share it with you. Swagamemnon on Tumblr wrote, "No offense, but I need everyone to stop saying that we survived bad presidents before." Like, I get it. The country has weathered people like Andrew Jackson and Ronald Reagan and will probably weather Trump. But when you say we survived Andrew Jackson, tell that to the 4,000 Cherokee who were murdered on the Trail of Tears. We survived Ronald Reagan, tell that to the 650,000 Americans who died of AIDS, a national health crisis which Reagan refused to recognize. You know who survived presidents like Trump? People who never had to be afraid of them in the first place. Yeah, and he knows! Donald Trump has been brazen in his discriminatory language against women, against Muslims, against immigrants, against disabled people, and against people of color. His supporters have been even more brazen in their discrimination, but have also added homosexuals, transgendered individuals, and apparently all liberals to that list. So don't tell me that it's going to be okay. Because for these groups, for millions of Americans, that's just not true. And for some, it already isn't. Your ability to look past that after everything he said and still tell me that I have to fall in line behind President Trump, that's privilege. So I suggest you check it. Thank you guys for watching. And I'm sorry that this video was so long and probably not very amusing, but what's happening right now isn't amusing. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe below. Yeah. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Feminazisms if you're into that sort of thing, and if not, you don't have to. But please do let us know how you feel about this subcategory of video. Sloppy Sacrament Sunday. Because I have a lot of buzzwords to break down. If you didn't like this video, feel free to leave a comment about my stupid stage makeup. That'll be fun. Until next time, please stay safe out there. Ladies, gents, and everyone in between.